Who the hell is this?
America took the most untamable woman on French television and made her easier to love. That wasn't an accident. That was a decision. High Potential and HPI share the same DNA, same hook, almost the same character names, same cases in season 1, but underneath that, they're built on completely different assumptions about what audiences can handle. 3 things we're decoding today. First, why did the French original end after 5 seasons and 40 episodes, while High Potential has already produced 31 in just 2? Second, there's a scene in HPI Season 2 that ABC would never greenlight. We're getting there. And third, the showrunner publicly said what he found too much about Morgane. That one quote explains everything. HPI premiered on TF1 in April 2021. Not as a cult show, not as a critical darling for the few, as a mainstream hit, 10 million viewers per episode, a 46% market share. They didn't love her despite the chaos. They loved her because of it. ABC took notice. Drew Goddard developed the American version. Caitlin Olsen was cast. And the blueprint? Almost identical. Same setup. A single mother with an IQ of 160 works as a cleaner in a police station. She accidentally disrupts a case board. She's too right to be ignored. She becomes a consultant. The character names barely changed. Morgane became Morgan. Thea became Ava. Karadec stayed Karadec. Even the pilot cases overlap directly. So when you're watching High Potential, you're watching a very faithful adaptation, which makes what they changed all the more deliberate. Start with where they're set. HPI is in Lille, northern France. Gray skies, working-class streets, a police station that looks like it hasn't been renovated since the 90s. High Potential is in Los Angeles. Bright light, wide shots, a major crimes bullpen that looks like it costs money to exist in. That's not just a location swap, it's a tone transplant. When Morgane has a breakthrough in HPY, the screen freezes. Colors explode. Comic book graphics fly through the frame. It's almost cartoonish, deliberately so. The French version leans into the absurdity. When Morgan has her moment in High Potential, her eyes go wide. She reaches for her headphones. The world goes quiet, grounded, contained. Even the humor is different. HPI runs on physical comedy. Morgane, stumbling through crime scenes in inappropriate heels, destroying evidence by accident, causing chaos that has real consequences. High Potential runs on wit. Morgan is still messy, but she's charmingly messy. And here's the number that matters. 5 seasons, 40 episodes in France. 2 seasons, 31 episodes in America, and counting. The French system let HPY tell its story and end. The American network system needs volume. That arithmetic isn't neutral. It shapes everything about how a show gets written. If you're the kind of person who noticed that the episode counts, means something, this channel is built for you. Subscribe, because we're only getting started. In September 2024, showrunner Todd Harthan gave an interview, and he said something that should be framed on a wall. He said Morgane, the French original, has a sort of flippant quality to her, bordering on being slightly too much for my taste. Slightly too much. For his taste. That's the whole story, right there. Morgane. Alvaro's identity is inseparable from her class. She grew up working class, she lives working class, and she doesn't trust the rich, or the systems built to protect them. That chip on her shoulder isn't a quirk, it's a worldview. It drives how she talks to suspects, how she treats authority, how she reads a crime scene. It's political, it's uncomfortable. In High Potential, that's gone. Morgan is working class in the sense that she doesn't have much money. But the resentment, the structural suspicion, stripped out. Then there's impulsivity. In HPI, Morgane's impulse control problem has real consequences. She contaminates crime scenes. She makes evidence inadmissible. She gets suspended, multiple times. She doesn't break rules in a way that gets resolved by the end of the episode. She breaks things that stay broken. Morgan breaks rules too, but she's always right when she does. Her instincts never actually cost her anything that matters, because American network TV cannot let its protagonist genuinely fail. TV Tropes has a term for what High Potential did to Morgan. Adaptational nice guy. The rough edges filed down, the ambiguity resolved, the darkness made palatable. Harthan also said this: "We don't ever want to skew so broad that we're not being mindful of the cases we're tackling and the people that have lost a loved one." That's a reasonable concern, and it tells you exactly where the ceiling is. This is where HPI and high potential stop being cousins and become strangers. Start with the missing man. In HPI, Morgane's first love, Romain, disappeared years ago. In season 2, she finds out what actually happened. He had gambling debts he couldn't repay, and rather than face them, he vanished and let everyone assume he was dead. He built a new life in Brighton. He chose to leave her and their daughter behind. In High Potential, Roman Cinquera's car was found with freshly bought diapers in the back seat. He didn't choose to leave. He was an FBI informant. His handler was murdered. Whatever happened to Roman, he was a victim, not a deserter. That's not a plot adjustment. That's a complete rewrite of the emotional foundation. In HPI, Morgane spent years loving a man who abandoned her on purpose. In High Potential, Morgan is searching for someone who was taken from her. One of these makes for a much more comfortable viewing experience. The other one says something true about how it feels to love someone who chose to disappear, and this is the part that got me. Now, the Ludo moment, and this is the detail that no standard comparison covers. In HPI Season 2, Morgane gets back together with Ludo, her ex-partner, father of her 2 younger children. Not because she loves him, because she's developed feelings for Karadec, and she's terrified those feelings won't be returned. So she goes back to something safe, something guaranteed. That's self-sabotage. That's a woman who sees exactly what she wants and walks in the opposite direction because wanting it feels too dangerous. It's messy. It's recognizable. It's the kind of thing real people do. American network TV cannot show its heroine making a fear-based decision she knows is wrong. That's not likable. So in High Potential, Morgan and Ludo have a functional co-parenting relationship. Stable, warm, no regression, no self-destruction. Then, there's the Karadec romance itself. In HPI, the first kiss happens at the end of Season 2. Morgane has just learned that Romain is alive and moved on without her. She's devastated. Karadec tells her, essentially, that she is lovable. They kiss. And then, nothing. He stays with his girlfriend. They spend seasons in an on-off spiral that never fully resolves. In Season 5, they're not together. In High Potential, Harthan was clear. Slow burn. Friendship first. Respect first. That's what you fall in love with before the characters ever fall in love with each other. 2 different philosophies about what an audience can sit with. HPI asks you to tolerate the mess. High Potential promises you the payoff. Both shows are hits, that's not in question. HPI averaged 10 million viewers in France. High Potential became the best-performing ABC scripted series in over 5 years. The formula works in both languages, but HPI is finished. 5 seasons, 40 episodes, done. It told its story and stopped. High Potential is building toward a 3rd season with no ceiling in sight. The American system doesn't reward endings. It rewards continuation, which means Morgan can't be too broken, too complicated, too much, because complicated characters are harder to sustain across 18 episodes a season, year after year, indefinitely. And here's what that produces: a version of this story where the heroine is brilliant and chaotic and lovable, but never genuinely frightening, never self-destructive in a way that actually costs her, never so raw that you squirm. Morgane is frightening. That's the point. She's a woman who sees everything, understands everything, and still manages to be her own worst enemy. That's not a flaw in the character design. That's the whole argument. French television trusted its audience to love a woman even when she makes you uncomfortable. American television needed you to root for her from minute 1. HPI and High Potential have the same bones, but only one of them left the beast in. Season 3 of High Potential is confirmed. The question, and it's a real one, is whether Morgan gets sharper as the show matures, or whether the network ceiling stays exactly where it is. we'll be watching and decoding. If you haven't watched HPI yet, I won't tell you what to do, but I know what I did the night I found that Ludo detail.